Today, we're tackling that feeling that I think almost every single language learner knows.
Oh, absolutely. The plateau.
The plateau, exactly. That absolute crushing frustration of just being stuck.
It's such a painful place to be, isn't it? You've devoted months, maybe even years to studying, and you just hit a wall.
Yeah, and the advice you always get is so simple. Just study harder.
Or be more persistent. And it's like, okay, but how? That doesn't really help.
It certainly doesn't help listeners like Daniel from Brazil. I mean, his story really stood out. He spent 4 years on English.
4 years is a long time.
Long time. Watching videos, reading books, consuming so much content. But then he tries to talk to a native speaker and he just freezes.
The words are gone.
Completely. He speaks slowly. Confidence is just not there.
And Daniel's story, it perfectly encapsulates the problem. See, the effort is there 100%, but the strategy is flawed.
So that's our mission in this deep dive.
Right. We're going to move beyond that superficial advice. We've synthesized the research to find the real hidden blockers, the cognitive ones, the psychological ones, and then we're going to hand you a powerful, actionable toolkit of daily fixes.
Okay, so we're diagnosing the problem first. And we've identified 3 core reasons progress stalls, right?
Exactly. First, the trap of passive consumption. Second, the paralyzing effect of fear. And third, the inefficiency of, inconsistency.
Let's start with that first one, the passive consumption trap. That sounds insidious.
It is, because it feels like you're working. Many learners spend, I'd say, 90% of their time in consumption mode. They watch Netflix, they read articles, they listen.
But they never produce.
They never produce.
But hold on, if I'm exhausted after work, surely just, having the English news on it in the background is better than nothing.
It is better than nothing, but it's not productive for fluency. You have to distinguish between receptive skills, that's understanding, and expressive skills, which is speaking and writing. Think about the analogy we see in the sources, the one about physical training. If you want to get stronger, you don't just sit on the couch and watch workout videos.
No, of course not. You have to actually engage the muscles. You have to go lift the weights, do the movements, no matter how many videos you've seen.
Exactly. Language works the same way. When you only consume, you're training your receptive brain, but you're letting your production muscles just atrophy.
So you have to force production. You have to use the language to access the language.
That's the key.
And this passive consumption, I imagine it's often a way to avoid our second blocker, the fear of making mistakes.
Oh, it's a huge coping mechanism.
I've heard so many stories, people who have this huge vocabulary stored away, but the fear of being corrected just keeps them silent.
That's Aisha from Egypt. Her case was classic. She knew so many words, so much grammar, but she refused to speak English outside of her classroom.
Why?
Because she was terrified of correction, of judgment, maybe even ridicule. That fear is a cognitive stopper. It literally tells your brain, choose silence over risk.
And silence is the enemy of fluency.
It's the antithesis.
So I think the biggest mindset shift you need to make is to immediately reframe what a mistake even is. We see it as a failure.
We do.
But we need to see it as feedback. Every mistake you make is just a vital data point, and it's actually pushing you closer to fluency.
We need to adopt that mantra. Speak first, improve later. What matters is that you communicate the idea, not that it's grammatically perfect.
Right. If you wait until you feel ready or perfect,
you'll wait forever. You learn to speak by speaking, period.
And that leads right into the third blocker, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The reason passive consumption and fear are so dangerous is they fuel inconsistency.
They absolutely do. The human brain thrives on routine. There's this great analogy in the research about language being like planting a tree.
Okay.
You can't just drench it with water once a month and expect it to grow. It needs small, daily, consistent attention.
And the contrast in methods is just astounding. We saw that example of Omar from Bangladesh. He started practicing for just 15 minutes a day, talking aloud, listening to short clips. And after 6 months, his progress blew away the time when he used to cram for 2 hours just once a week.
The daily micro-practice always wins the marathon. It's just how our brains are wired.
And that inconsistency, it often comes back to this obsession with accuracy, doesn't it? Focusing only on grammar rules.
A hyper-focus on accuracy, yeah. The desire to be perfectly right slows people down. A lot of the time, it stops them from even starting.
Now, to be clear, grammar is important.
Of course.
But if the goal is communication, you have to prioritize just getting the idea out. Even if someone says, she go to market yesterday.
You understand them completely. That's successful communication. Fluency has to come first, then accuracy follows as your brain just naturally picks up the correct patterns over time.
So the pursuit of perfection actually becomes an obstacle.
An active obstacle, yes. We see learners, especially from languages that don't use articles, they'll just freeze up. They can't remember if it's a dog or the dog.
But it doesn't matter for the meaning, usually.
Right. The communicative purpose is still clear. Get the structure a bit wrong, but get the sentence out.
Absolutely. So now that we've diagnosed these mindset problems, passive consumption, fear, and inconsistency, let's get into the action toolkit. How do we actually shift from consuming to producing every single day?
We start by boosting daily low-stakes speaking. The key is just building muscle memory for your mouth. You have to speak out loud every day.
Even if you're alone.
Especially if you're alone. Describe your room, narrate what you're doing. I am making coffee now. Summarize your day, anything.
And this is where we can introduce that technique that helped people like Daniel, the one who was freezing up. It's called shadowing.
It sounds so simple, but it is one of the most powerful tools out there for fluency.
So how does it work?
It's powerful because of the cognitive link it creates. So you listen to a native speaker sentence from a short audio clip, maybe. You pause it, and then you immediately repeat it.
And you're not just repeating the words.
No, you're copying everything. The tone, the rhythm, the pace, exactly as you heard it.
And the mechanism here is what's so crucial. You're training your brain to connect the sounds it hears directly to the motor functions of speech. You're bypassing that translation step.
Exactly. Shadowing physically trains your mouth and brain at the same time. It gets your articulators, your tongue, lips, teeth comfortable with the sounds and the connected speech of English. It reduces the friction for when you speak spontaneously.
Another great tool is just recording yourself. Use your phone, speak for 1 minute about your day, and then listen back.
That immediate feedback loop is critical. This is what helped Nura from Malaysia. She had to improve her clarity for international clients.
What did she do?
She recorded herself reading dialogues, and by listening back, she could instantly hear her own pronunciation issues or where her speed was inconsistent. You can't fix what you can't hear.
Okay, so that's solo speaking. What about listening? We talked about Daniel playing videos in the background while scrolling. That's passive listening.
Passive listening is the enemy of retention. You have to shift to active, focused listening and use real English, natural podcasts, stories, interviews.
Not the slow, boring textbook audio.
Please avoid the boring textbook audio. It doesn't prepare you for real life.
And to train your ear effectively, repetition is key. Maria from Brazil, she listened to the same podcast episode 5 times in 1 week.
And what happened?
The first time, she just got the gist of it. But by the 5th time, she was catching nuances, specific vocabulary, and how native speakers run their words together.
And you have to expose yourself to the reality of global English. Jacob from Kenya, he struggled with a British client because he'd only ever listened to American English.
So you need to seek out different accents.
Actively. British, Australian, various global accents. It prepares your ear for the real world.
This brings us to vocabulary. The research strongly advocates for quality over quantity.
Oh, without a doubt. It is far better to learn 5 new words and actually use them in a sentence than it is to try and memorize a list of 30 and forget them all by tomorrow.
So let's get into the evidence-based strategies for that. There were 2 key memory techniques.
Right.
First up, contextualization.
Right. So instead of just memorizing the word appointment from a list, James connected it to his real life. He made a sentence. I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow.
That creates a strong memory hook.
A very strong personal hook. And second, the science of spaced repetition. This is crucial for long-term memory. Our brain has something called the forgetting curve.
Right. If you learn something and don't revisit it, you forget most of it really quickly.
Within a few days, yeah. Spaced repetition is the fix. You review the same word after 1 day, then 3 days, then a week. You're forcing your brain to retrieve it at longer and longer intervals.
And that signals to your brain, hey, this is important, keep it.
Exactly. It moves it from short-term to long-term memory.
You should also prioritize learning phrases or chunks, not just single words. Don't learn go. Learn go shopping, go for a walk.
Ahmed from Egypt found this was a game changer. Learning in chunks dramatically speeds up your conversational flow. You're not trying to build every sentence from scratch.
You're just dropping in these pre-built units of language.
Just like-
And if we connect this all back to Daniel's problem, that slow, halting speech, a huge reason for that is internal translation.
The delay is massive. Learners like Maria from Spain, she was trying to translate everything word for word from Spanish, but the sentence structures are different.
So her brain has to stop, translate, check the grammar, and then rebuild the sentence every single time.
It's exhausting and it's slow. The fix is to practice thinking directly in English. Start small, name objects around you. This is a cup, I see a tree.
And do it without translating in your head first.
That's the challenge. But your brain will gradually adapt to operating directly in English, and it will slash your speaking delay.
Okay, that brings us to building an English life. And this isn't about finding 3 more hours in your week to study.
No, it's about seamless integration into the hours you already have. The key is to use English for things you genuinely enjoy.
Like Amina, who loved cooking.
Right. She stopped searching for recipes in her native language. She just started watching English cooking videos. When the content is interesting, your brain pays attention and your retention just skyrockets.
You have to create an English bubble.
Yeah.
Change your phone's language settings. I liked what No from Tunisia did. She labeled things in her kitchen. Spoon, fridge, cup.
So she's seeing those words every single day, integrating English into her life without it feeling like homework.
And for people with really busy schedules, there's James's strategy of using micro moments.
Brilliant. The 30 seconds waiting for coffee, the 5 minutes in line at the store. Use that time to listen to a short audio clip or review your flashcards. These small moments add up.
So once you're integrating, the next step is monitoring. You can't just wait 6 months and hope you've improved.
No, you need regular check-ins. Tom from the Philippines thought he was studying hard, but then he realized he still froze when asked simple questions.
What was he doing wrong?
He was prioritizing reading over speaking. He had to ask himself, am I getting better at output?
And when you are brave enough to speak with others, be strategic about getting feedback. Don't just ask, how's my English?
No, that's too vague. Ask for specific feedback. Ask someone to correct your verb tenses or your use of articles like a and the. This stops those small mistakes from becoming permanent habits.
And on pronunciation, the goal is clarity, not a perfect accent.
Clarity is everything. It enables communication. You can train your mouth and ear by using pause and repeat with audio clips until you can say things clearly, even if you don't sound like a native speaker.
We mentioned Amir from Pakistan. He knew all the words but froze when he tried to speak. Isolation is a real progress killer.
It is. If you're geographically isolated, you have to find online groups or conversation partners. Lena from Turkey found huge progress in low-stakes online groups.
And you can start with small goals.
Tiny goals, like just having a 10-minute conversation about how's your day. That's a win.
And this all loops back to the master key, the thing that ties it all together. Consistency. It's the habit, not the intensity, that gets you there.
Absolutely. Treat your 15 or 20 minutes of English like brushing your teeth. It's just something you do. Yusuf, a driver, he just listened to podcasts every day while driving. Didn't understand much at first.
But after a couple of months.
He was understanding full sentences. That's the power of consistent, small effort.
And one last pro tip for consistency. Keep a personal mistake list. Write down your error, she go to school. And then the correction, she goes to school.
And then say that corrected sentence out loud. Review it. This deliberate practice helps the right version become automatic.
So, to summarize all this for you, the road to fluency isn't a sprint. It's a marathon. And it's built on small, consistent, active actions.
Think of Sarah from Kenya. She just started by listening to stuff while she was cooking. She ended up gaining the confidence to teach beginner classes in her community. Celebrate your small victories. They're compounding every day.
Your journey is your own, so stop comparing yourself to other people. Just focus on speaking first, improving later, and bringing English into the things you already love to do.
And the most valuable learning comes from using English for real-life problem solving. Samir from India, he improved so much just by starting to write his daily to-do list in English.
We saw the example of Sarah from Sri Lanka. She had a problem with her washing machine, so she searched how to fix washing machine not spinning, but only in English.
Exactly. Real-world application.
So we'll leave you with this commitment, this final challenge.
What is one real-life problem or piece of information you need this week? Maybe it's a recipe, a repair guide, or news about a hobby. Can you commit to researching it only in English? Turn your needs into natural learning opportunities. That is where the true transformation happens.